Hello, and welcome to the final week ahead reading of May 2026. We're going to be using two different decks today. First one, Moonchild Tarot deck. Second, Moonology Manifestation Oracle deck. So two from one from the other. I already have all of my notes for this reading. I sat here, 10, 15 minutes. There was a lot that came in. I was organizing all of my notes together. I also reviewed the astrology afterwards. So I have my analysis, the astrology, all that fun stuff. So I'm going to be going through the recap of everything. The first visual that came in was a book closing being firmly snapped shut. And then we were blowing the dust off of another book, and it came across as if that one's been sitting out like on our coffee table, collecting dust for an extended period of time. So it's neglected and ignored. And we're finally opening it up, and it's like it opens and light is shooting out of it. It feels really, really relevant. It's exactly what we need to be learning right now. This brings us to the first card, which is the Two of Pentacles. And I was drawn right away to read a quote from the guidebook, and it's as follows. She balances on either side of this vision, assessing the roots that are being presented to her. The moth identifies the inner transformation of evolution and change. The flowers bloom new opportunities into this picture. I also was drawn on the page to a mantra. They have a few of them, but there was one in particular at the bottom. And it's, I treasure the moments of love and play. So there's a lot to unpack here. Ultimately, we're opening this book. This is the new chapter of opportunities. We're receiving lessons that brighten, illuminate our perspective, and therefore vision for the future. During which time, we're being called to transform, including infusing every corner of our life with play, love, and gratitude. Even when it's hard, because that's the lesson. Overall, this comes across as a really major pivot point in our lives. And if we're ready to seize the energetic shift here, and how it came across is, quote, like holding on tight to the horns and sticking it out for the ride. That's why the positive attitude is important, because otherwise it'd be really easy to just let go because it feels challenging and tough, or the discomfort of change. This was bringing us, before I could even interpret it anymore, right into our next card, because these are all building directly on top of each other, you'll see. So we have the Eight of Swords. And as a side note, I have recently been pulling this for myself a lot. So I did laugh when I flipped it over and went this one again. But it ultimately is signaling this inner battle with isolation. So she's sitting here quietly. The smoke is coming from the fire, what she's burning, what she's producing, what she's working on, and she's covered in this veil. There's mental hoops, swords card, mental hoops that we are going through, that we are putting ourselves through. And this is not the Hermit card. Normally for the Hermit, it's we're going to go down into isolation and we're transforming. It's like that's what you would think would match here. But what this is saying is, yes, we are working on that, but this is the reminder that this is a mental journey as well. What we were talking about previously, having the good attitude. Where's our focus? How can we make sure we're finding fun in this? Because it could feel heavy, it could feel weighty. And that is what we're working on. So what did come through here as well is, because this is associated with isolation, part of that play and pleasure may very well be derived from our connection with other people, with animals, with nature. And it was at this point I was drawn to read a specific passage from the guidebook. If you feel affected by external circumstances or other people, it may be time to expand your awareness and look at the choices that are available to you. There's such a thing as it being a bridge too far with connection, naturally. So if there's social comparison, so we're looking outward, the external circumstances, what's happening with other people, what are they doing or saying or not doing or saying, and we get swept up in that. We're shifting our awareness, our attention, growing it by seeking balance, joy, and the inner growth with intention. It was at this point that I asked for a timetable. So I was like, what are we even talking about here? This feels very big picture. I know earlier we said it was like a pivoting point. And The clarity that I got is that, yes, it's a turning point, but only so far as we are willing to face it. For some people, this could mean this whole process lasts just a couple days and you abandon ship. While for others, they could spend 5 years on this journey because of the dedication. And there's no pro or con. Like you might hear 5 years, oh my gosh, that's such a long time. Well, it could be 5 years because there's a lot of work to be done and it's really difficult to learn this lesson. Or it could be slow and steady dedication. There's bumps in the road. It's necessary to be tested and to build these experiences. There's lots of layers to peel back, but it's fulfilling. It takes a long period of time in order to lock everything in with the adjustments and things that come up. And so it doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad if it is taking longer. However, not spending enough time, as in only the couple days, that means it's surface level. That means it's only scratching an itch rather than tending to the actual condition. For our final card, we had the one pick from the Moonology Manifestation Oracle deck, and that's the first quarter moon in Libra. Keep your heart open. And this was great because how I felt through the channeling and what was coming through with these previous cards, I was like, if this card right here isn't a Libra, what are we going to do? And of course it was. So I was very pleased because all of the conversations around the relationships, around balance, it's perfect. It's really perfect. So when it's talking about keeping your heart open, that relates to trust. That's compassion, a willingness to receive. Remember the book, receiving the wisdom that comes through, the lessons, the trials, the things that we are learning. And I did get nudged actually to read a very small passage from this book. And the high level is it was talking about making sure that we aren't overreaching in our relationship dynamics, whether that is chasing, people pleasing, self-sacrificing. Those ultimately become obstacles, challenges, tests along the journey here. We're not trying to isolate, which means we want to think about our relationships with other people as we are doing this work and this work. These are both talking about the transformation and the growth and going inward. And then this is another supplement to that as well. Okay, well, make sure that you're receiving what is coming through and that you're not reaching outward. We're trying to create balance, symmetry. This might be a long road ahead for people. However, it's totally worth it for the magic in that dusty old book. On the high level with the cards, before we get to the astrology, I did notice right away all three cards have purple in them. And in fact, the colors kind of match. You can see these are from two different decks, but like the darkest purple is up here, and then the lightest kind of purpley pink color is in here as well. So there's this through line of purple. I don't know if or how that will be of significance or relevance. Feel free to analyze what does the color purple mean for you. And other things that came up were pairs, balance. We also have that with the Libra energy as well. And then transformation that came up here. And for all of them, there is some element of change needing to happen, or that there's the destiny of, well, things are going to unfold, things are going to evolve. How are we going to approach that? On the astrological side, pretty simple story here, but it actually was really great. So the first thing that happens on Monday is the Uranus retrograde pre-shadow begins, which means that Uranus is preparing to slow down. Uranus is the planet of, who guessed it, change, sudden change, things cropping up. And a few hours later, the moon enters Libra. Great, love this, was jazz. And the moon is in Libra for most of Monday, also on Tuesday, and most of Wednesday, at which point in the evening, it transforms into Scorpio, which is perfect for our discussion around deep transformation, going inward, seeking the understanding. Scorpio moon on Thursday, Scorpio moon on Friday, and then Saturday in the morning, it moves into Sagittarius. And what are we trying to do this week? I mentioned it earlier. We're trying to expand. We're trying to shift our perspective. We're trying to learn. We're trying to play and have fun. These are all signatures of the Sagittarius energy. Then Sunday morning, around 5 a.m. Eastern time. So definitely check your time zone to see if it happens to still fall on Saturday. We have a full moon, our second full moon in May. This is a culmination point. So we're reflecting. We were talking earlier about having gratitude. Even all this work of like looking inward, trying to understand what's working and not working in the relationships, it marries all of this together. So all of those moon ingresses, ending the week on that full moon in Sagittarius, it's the perfect note, honestly. Make sure to check out my May 2026 astro weather reports on YouTube, specifically the first one, because I talked about the 2 full moons that happen right at the beginning of May and then right at the end of May. So you can get more details on that. For my upcoming Insight Timer classes, I'm going to be doing my June 2026 astro weather report during class on the 27th, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And just after this week on June 1st, I'm doing my meditation and journaling class. I do this each month, but there's variety. Every single time I channel something completely different. What we're doing for an exercise or not, is there movement? Is there visualization? What type of breath work are we doing? Are we sitting, we standing, we laying down? Combination of any of the above, and then the journal prompts that go along with it. So every class is unique and I don't record them. So you just kind of have to be there if you want to experience it. So check that out if you're interested. And otherwise, let's finish out May on a high note and dive into the next chapter of that dusty old book and yeah, make the most of it.